Hi, everybody. Welcome to John's Briefs here today again with the Baron of Barristers, Tim Forshey from Forshey Law, the guy you should be getting your NFA trust from, especially now, for goodness sakes, with how fast Form 1s are coming back. Anyhow, we're here at C2 Tactical in Scottsdale. Thank you to them for letting us use their conference room. Talking today, had somebody in the Asp Unlimited app ask me, because I said that with my kids, not when they were going to school, but when they were going out in the world, that I sent them out with OC spray because they can't carry a gun, and having some kind of a force multiplier, especially for those in vulnerable populations, is a good thing. But let's ask the attorney about any legal repercussions of that.
Boy.
To win the fight after the fight, you need help. After a use of force, I trust Firearms Legal Protection to help me win the fight for the rest of my life. From their 24/7 attorney-answered hotline to coverage for the use of all legal tools, Firearms Legal Protection has you covered. Get a discount by signing up at the link below. So here's an interesting one, because you guys know, if you've been on the channel much, Tim is not the world's biggest fan of OC spray to begin with. He doesn't like that as a thing, though maybe coming around a little bit.
I mean, you start off sort of with an inclination not to like something that's ruined your day, like 2 or 3 days of your life. You realize that's not so fun, but yeah.
And so, one of the things that I've said is, again, my kids, if you pay attention, are not on Asp much at all, ever. They choose not to, and that's great. The kids these days, man, they got too much pressure on them, and being on a large social media presence is just a bad thing.
Sure.
And some of them are a little bit more in vulnerable populations than others, but of course too young to carry a firearm. And especially when they were too young to carry a firearm, they wanted to go out to the mall, they wanted to go out to, hang out with their friends or whatever, I'd send them with an OC spray. I'd say, look, I want you to stay away from every problem that you can. Be smart. Don't, be a good, sane, sober, moral, prudent person. Don't go picking fights, stupid stuff like that. If you use this to pick on somebody, you're going to go to jail for it. But if somebody wants to, hurt you, booping them on the snoot with it can get you out of there and do okay. But of course, we had a commenter on the Asp Unlimited app who was like, John, is that legal to do? And I was like, I mean, I can't think of why not. OC spray is not considered a weapon in Arizona. It's not classified as a weapon. And so I don't see any reason why not, but I don't know, Tim, what do you think?
I think it's maybe the hardest question you've thrown at me on this channel, you jerk. That's what I think.
Yes, no preparation, by the way.
No prep whatsoever. And we've talked about this, as you said, a few times. We politely disagree on our philosophies about it a little bit. And the thing is that because I see the people where it didn't go well for them. The people that call me about this are the ones that got into some trouble over this, right? I've never had anybody convicted of ag assault. I had one guy charged with ag assault. I've had a number of people charged with assault, which is a misdemeanor.
Well, I mean, assault, if you shoot somebody, if you hit somebody with OC spray in a non-justified manner, you've committed assault.
But if you cause a serious injury, that's also aggravated assault. And if you get somebody, and you're obviously far more of an expert on this than I am, but if you get somebody at very close range with OC, the pepper particles actually penetrate the cornea and become embedded, and you can get people with really badly inflamed eyes. I had a buddy that went through posse training, this is probably 10, 15 years ago, but he went through posse training, and the idiot that pepper sprayed him from 6 or 8 inches away, and he was in the hospital for like 3 days.
Oh boy.
So is that a serious injury? Under Arizona definition, if you're hospitalized, that's a serious injury.
Yeah.
So that could have been an ag assault charge. So again, if you don't know what you're doing, and obviously you're the guru of knowing what you're doing, I'm not, it just always gives me pause to tell lay people, to tell my 15-year-old daughter, okay, this guy has to be posing a real risk to you. Now, make sure you get closer. You got to get closer. Is the wind behind your back or is it in your face? I mean, there's just a lot to think about where this can go haywire. The last thing I want is my 15-year-old daughter spraying herself with pepper spray when a rapist is trying to close the distance. I mean, that's just, so it's one of these things where I'm always hesitant to tell a person with modicum amount of training or less that pepper spray is a good option, because I've just seen it backfire. The people that I see are the ones where it didn't go well. You see the people, you get the phone calls, hey John, I followed your advice and man, it worked like a charm. This guy cleared right out. And so it reinforces your beliefs. My beliefs are reinforced from the opposite direction. So it's harder for me, but I'll give you a quick little anecdote. I won't say which school, but as I think I may have mentioned on your channel before, Johnny, I've got triplets. And it turns out triplets are all the same age. I didn't realize
Weird.
that. Yeah, weird. Anyway, so I had to pay for 12 years of college in 4 years. So be that as it may.
Good thing he's making all that crazy lawyer money.
Crazy lawyer money. Yeah, right. When I took one of my daughters for her, what do they call the orientation seminar at this particular school, everybody's over talking about sororities and stuff, and I meandered over to the security desk because that's my environment, and I'm chatting to the the head of security at this campus, a really nice lady. We're chatting a little bit. I said, hey, I understand, obviously, no guns on campus. And she goes, no, no guns. I said, totally get it. I said, but you guys, in your policy book, it says no pepper spray, no tasers. I said, I've got an 18-year-old daughter that's going away from home for the first time. What would you recommend for defense? For she walking around on campus at night. She goes, oh, pepper spray. I said, ma'am, it says right here in your campus policy, no pepper spray. She looks at me and she goes, pepper spray. This is the head of security. So I think that the law tends to understand that we're not going to force people to be unarmed victims. I think we don't want to go too far the other direction and say it's okay to sling an AR-15 when you walk to sociology class.
Yeah.
But I think there's a little more tolerance from smart people on that than there used to be. But my daughter opted not to carry anything, which is kind of par for the course in my household. That's a whole other story. But I would have been comfortable with her carrying pepper spray as long as I maybe sent her to you for an hour class or something. I think that I don't know that you necessarily have to be sprayed with it, but I think that you need to know what's going on with it. And I think I see why they want us to be sprayed with it. I've been sprayed with it twice, 2 of the worst days of my life.
I will say, I will take a taser ride again before I'll take another OC.
Because taser's over in 10 seconds.
This exactly
is
right.
Going on and
OC
on
is
and
an
on.
hour of
That's
two of misery.
At least, and that's with the baby shampoo in your eyeballs. Yeah. So but it's and then I say I don't need to be shot in the head to know it's a bad thing. I don't need to have that experience. But anyway, the point is that I would defer to you on this. It just makes me nervous to take somebody with little or no training, toss them in an aerosolized can of seasoning and say, have at it, good luck, save your life.
Well, and of course, we'd always say, to people, hey, a couple of hours of OC training. Now, of course, with my kids, they get a guy who's an OC trainer, to go, okay, here's how you use it. When we talk about blessing the deserving, by the way, that's because you go across the ears and from head to neck. It's like a Catholic blessing themselves, right? Ominous, dominus, hockety, pockety. The bells and the smells. So, and you bless the deserving with the hot sauce and then let them go about their day. And they will be miserable for a while. Yeah. And so, of course, from a practical perspective, and I always said when my kids were, especially when they were in high school, I'm not sending them to high school with that. And even in college, right? You got to say, hey, there could be a policy against this. Right. And as the person who is, on campus, well, you might face sanctions from your school if you get caught with that.
And can you imagine the scandal from that? I mean, good luck getting into another college when you find out why you get kicked out of last college, because it's going to say in your transcript, had weapon on campus or something like that. They're not going to explain the situation, why you made that choice and what it was. They're not going to be favorable to you.
So those things are consequences that you got to think about, right?
And I would treat, if any of you folks are going to have your 17-year-old son or daughter take pepper spray to college, or 18-year-old, I would say you treat it just like a concealed weapon. In other words, we've talked at length about what my definition of concealment means. And that means that you don't bring it out at a party after you've had 2 beers and tell all your buddies, well, let them try it with me. I've got pepper spray, because it's no longer concealed. Now it's gossip. Now everybody knows. So it is very, very close to your chest, and you understand that that's something you don't talk about, except for your absolute most inner circle people.
And I do agree with you, Tim, though, that I think that especially, now listen, as a grown man, right? So, I carry my pepper spray all the time. I do, you know what I mean? And I've used it.
No, it's just it makes me nervous looking at the nozzle.
We don't want to do that. And people get on me all the time because I'm a runner, and so I've used it on dogs several times. Very effective on dogs. But this is a good use. But I think women especially, it's much more socially acceptable for a woman to have a pepper spray on her than it is. If she says, "Oh, look, I've got a gun on me," well, okay, whoa, what's going on?
But again, in both of those instances, she's given away the concept of concealment.
Right, for 100%.
To me, that's just not a conversation you have. If other people in the group are talking about the weapons they carry, I don't join in.
I agree, 100%.
It's just not something you talk about.
100%. So anyways, I think that from a legal perspective, check your state laws, as always, right? But in everywhere that I'm aware, OC spray is not considered a weapon, and so you don't have problems like you do now. It's a metal canister. It's going to set off metal detectors, those things. I'm not telling you to take it past metal detection or anything like that. I'm not telling you to carry it where it's illegal, trying to take it into court or something like that. I'm not telling you any of that stuff. I'd certainly never tell you that in a place where it's in a public internet venue that's discoverable. That would be dumb. So I'm not saying that, but I also say when you have kids, if your kid's little, if your kid is vulnerable, if your kid can't fight, your kid has an immune disorder, your kid's, one of those. Now, you've got a 17-year-old guy who's 6'3" and, is a varsity linebacker on the football team, whatever. Nobody's going to mess with you in a physical sense. You got a little bitty 5 foot tall, little scrawny kid.
Yeah.
maybe having something between a harsh word and a kidnapping would be a wise idea.
Good way of putting it.
And of course, that's within the context of teaching them to be good people and to
Right.
follow the rules of stupid and all those things.
Well, yeah, if there's, I mean, the whole concept of condition yellow is the best thing we can teach, right? Just situational awareness, pay attention to your environment, look for cues, that kind of stuff. That's going to make them safer than a can of pepper spray or a gun, right?
100%.
And that's something I think very few of us do a good job of teaching them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. So, OC spray, is it a legal problem for somebody to carry who's under 21? I don't think it really is. I don't think it's going to cause a problem unless they make a bad decision. Yeah, the answer is.
Here's the answer from a lawyer. It can be.
It depends,
Yeah,
right?
it depends.
Depends on how they do that. Is that a risk that I was willing to take with my kids? Yeah. And they learned very quickly. You know, I said, hey, listen, you use this inappropriately and you go to jail. You're going to get charged with assault, and you should, right? So you only use this if you're like, no, I was pretty sure that guy was going to beat me up. And here's how you use it. Here's how it's effective. You get away from him. You're the one that calls the police at that point. And I pepper sprayed him, and he's the guy over there yelping in the corner, and he could use some help. Okay, fine. Teach them to be good people first, stay away from problems, follow the rules of stupid, have something there, I think is a good thing. Is that going to get that kid sent to jail? Only if they do stupid things. So who do you not give it to?
I would agree with everything you just said. Who do you not give it to? The irresponsible turd that's going to go out and try to show people how cool he is and blah, 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 cause problems. Yeah. And hopefully that's not the person that you raised. Right? I mean, child rearing is important. So, yeah.
Unfortunately, what we find is just like in leadership, we say you don't gather around you who you want, you gather who you are.
That's true. And I know the best parents I've ever met will have 4 kids that are exemplary, and then they'll have that 5th kid that you just like, what the heck happened? It's just like
we all get a choice.
The perfect nature versus nurture argument. It's just like, well, the genes just got mixed up a little here. So it's not always child rearing. That's very true.
All right. So there's your answer in ASP Unlimited. All you ASP Unlimited folks know that I answer every comment that gets asked there, every question that gets asked there for sure. If you're watching this on YouTube, come over and join us on the ASP Unlimited app. It's better there.
I know the question you're all asking on the Unlimited channel, is he single? No, I'm sorry, he's not. So got that Smith Brothers beard going. It's just looking better and better. So
trying every day. God bless you, everybody. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks. You bet. My pleasure.